May I call to order this meeting of the Plain Township Board of Trustees, if everybody will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before us we have our agenda. The first thing that we have on the agenda is a public hearing with McKinley Development. And I know we've got a packed room here, but we're going to go with Rich Costin here first. Present here the plan for Saratoga Hills.
Thank you.
Oh, he's going to present.
I'm on.
Yes.
Okay. My name is Rich Costin. I'm representing McKinley Development, 8230 Pittsburgh Avenue. We are seeking a rezoning of 91 acres from R1 to R1A. The history, Saratoga Hills Development is 208 acres of single-family homes with open space, community center, connection to walking trails, and other amenities. To date, we have developed approximately half of the project, including most of the amenities. About 18 years ago, McKinley Development worked with Plain Township to define the details of the Saratoga Hills project so that it would be harmonious with the community and align with the township's comprehensive master plan. And we intend to see the project through till the end. Some things leading to our rezoning request. The cost to build a street has more than doubled over the last decade. And in one factor, excuse me, my glasses, and is one factor affecting home affordability. Having different size lots within the project will create more options for buyers. In consulting with a national builder and seeing it firsthand at Edgewood, there is a segment of the market that prefer to put their money into the home amenities rather than into more expensive lots. This will also, number 4, this will also allow a 23% reduction in the amount of streets needed and maintained by the township. With our rezoning request submittal, we also are submitting an updated declaration of covenants and restrictions. This was originally used 18 years ago with the township trustees to memorialize McKinley's commitment to Plain Township on how Saratoga Hills would be developed. Some of the points covered in the recorded document were a development plan, amenities such as sidewalks, street lights, street trees, walking path, buffer zones, outdoor pool, minimum lot size of buffering with lots to the neighbors, landscape buffering, cooperation with the township on vacating a cul-de-sac, and others. In the declaration, there is a preliminary site plan that I think gives you a more complete picture of what we're planning to do. I will go over that in a minute. We believe there is no significant difference in the allowable uses between the current R1 zoning and our requested zoning change of R1A. Our plan is to develop all single-family home lots. Addressing the two notable differences between the zoning classes of density and minimum lot size. Density, although the allowable density would be increased, we have no intentions of building any more lots than what was in the original development plan given to the township 18 years ago, and in fact, we will be building a few less lots. On the minimum lot size, I believe the lot sizes does not change much, but what the bigger point is that the lots can become narrower, and that allows our plan to come together. Both of these points are covered in the declaration. Again, our main desire with the rezoning request is to have the ability to offer some narrower lots and open ourselves up to a wider part of the market. Now I'll be available for questions. So I'd just like to go over the plan, which is part of the declaration that we would want to sign as a commitment here. Does everybody kind of know where we're at, or do I need to kind of share with you?
I don't know where Saratoga
I'm
is.
okay.
Okay, all right. That's great. So to get your bearing straight here, myself a little bit too. So this would be north. This is Bettler Road. Okay. These were recently developed there. We're now developing phase 5 down here. So everything that's in colored is what we're proposing as yet to be developed, and that is part of what the rezoning is. So some of the points that I want to make out here is, and this was from 18 years ago, and we will continue to do this, all the lots abutting the neighbors, we will keep, we committed to make those larger lots, and they're going to stay that way. And that's the way we had them 18 years ago, and that's the way we have them now. So what we are looking to do is make the lots that are more in the middle, the narrower lots, the smaller lots. I will also like to point out that we were still trying to balance some things out, because we still thought there was a market for some bigger lots. So you can see in the cul-de-sacs, there's larger lots. So there's just a balance of things in there. I didn't want to go into my color diagram a whole lot, but there's different sizes. You can see these lots are even narrower, and then these lots are a little bit bigger. Again, kind of abutting some lots that we just built up here. So one of the ways that we are, you might ask, well, hey, you're the same amount of acreage, you're going to make smaller lots, and how are you doing that? So obviously creating some more open space, and then I'll show you on the other one some what we call estate type lots. So there's a cul-de-sac over here, so this would be like one big lot here. There's 3 estate type lots. So again, instead of having a bunch of smaller lots in here, we just made bigger lots out of some of them. So that's how we maintain the number overall, the density kind of thing. So, and again, less streets overall, I said 23%. And the next page here.
Hey Rich, quick question
Sure.
before you put that on it. So that last little cul-de-sac on your low.
Yes.
Yeah. That's back in the old original phase.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes,
I know what-
yes.
Because that's where the Stark Parks area and
Yes.
stuff, retention.
Yes, yes, the Stark Parks is right here. This was our original entrance up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wetland area, yes. This here's the second half of the project. Again, your bearing straight, this is north. This is Bettler Road going on out. We're getting ready to do phase 6 here. This is the last phase on Bettler Road that was completed. So the drawing I had was just down in here. So again, kind of going out here. There was no commitment 18 years ago about the neighboring lots. So we kept our smaller lots here. Again, putting 2 larger estate type lots on the far east side is one of the ways that we're achieving, keeping the density the same as what it was 18 years ago.
We said those 2 larger estate lots, those are probably like 5-6 acres.
Yes.
Somewhere
Yes,
4.5 to 6
Yes,
acre
yes, they are.
size.
Yes. So again, we're trying to expose ourselves to a larger part of the market, and again, there is an affordability factor in here. As everybody knows, prices keep on going up and up, and obviously, a lot price does factor into buying a home. So if we can try to keep some smaller lots there, hopefully this will keep our exposure to the market a little bit larger, allowing some people to get more an entry level. So, any questions on that? And I'm open to any other general questions.
First, before we get into any questions, typically we'll ask.
Sure.
Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to address the board that's in support of this? Seeing none, let the record reflect nobody has chosen to speak. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak in opposition to what's being presented regarding the rezoning? Let the record reflect no speaking in opposition. So now, Rich will, with questions, I know one of the things, a lot of the allotment pretty much has been Ryan developed over there. Do we see that still being the continued trend with most of these lots, or do you see other builders inquiring about some of these because of getting down to the smaller lot size? How's that?
No. For the foreseeable future, we believe that Ryan Homes will continue to work with them, and they will build the majority of the homes out here. I guess the one thing I would set aside is probably the estate lots. I think those will probably be a different situation, and I don't think that Ryan Homes will be involved in those.
But it'll continue to be what I would label for the Ryan Homes more of a premier finish versus their
Yes,
basic entry.
yeah.
level.
I would like to point out, you know, we've had a relationship with Ryan Homes. I'm trying to think, our first one was up in Green. We're probably going back every bit of, 15 plus years. And it's been a growing process for us. And some of the things that we've listened to people, and maybe some people think, oh, hey, Ryan Homes, blah, 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 and maybe some older connotations kind of thing. So we have set, in all our projects with Ryan Homes, standards and our deed restrictions. And, it all gets reviewed in the beginning, but, where we ask them to dress up the front of their homes and do some other things like that. So it's been a little bit of give and take, but we do feel we hold them to a higher standard. And they've even come back later and said, hey, they think it does make a difference, and they've kind of adopted it in some other areas that they work in. So, so yes, we are planning to continue to use Ryan, and we plan to continue to have covenants and conditions to hold them to a higher standard.
Should this plan be approved by the board based upon the build-out rate that the last, phase activity, would you guys anticipate this probably, even taking into account crazy building material?
Yes.
Costs?
Difficult question to answer. We've all been through a downturn, and it was a real struggle to give away lots. Some examples now, we cannot keep lots in front of these guys fast enough.
Yeah.
They, as an example, over, I know it's a different project, but Edgewood, there's 38 little lots over there, and they sold all 38 in less than a year. And they're pushing us for more. We are designing, we're getting ready to start phase, they're in phase 5 now. I believe they have 8 lots out of the 22 left, and they've only been marking those for a couple months. We're getting ready to start phase 6, and they're pushing us to design phase 7. So I'm sorry I can't give you a number, but
It's probably going to be an aggressive.
yeah, I mean,
obviously, so.
I want to take advantage of the market here and now, while they can, obviously. We're all kind of watching for the future and see how things go. No one's predicting a bubble, but it's go time. The other thing I guess I'll also point out, in the larger market, Lexington Farms is basically in its last phase. Ryan is no longer over there. I think Pat Long just has a few more lots over there. And then they were also in Wicker Creek, and that's pretty well wrapped up. So between the 3 projects, they were probably averaging, I would say, 3 sales per month. So that's a total of 9. A little bit hotter market, so maybe they're pushing around 12. We could see them increasing, Saratoga Hills, and this could become much more accelerated.
Heather, do you have any questions for? Okay. Is there any other? Yeah.
Rick, you referenced Bettler Road, is that Bottler Road?
Yeah, he meant
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
because I was like,
Yeah.
I've been corrected before. Also.
It's okay, we understood. In Green, you probably said Butler
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
or Bentler.
There is a Butler Street in Green.
There is.
Or
We
FedEx
have
was-
projects on it.
Yeah.
Bottler Oaks.
Yeah.
I apologize.
I think that if there's no other comments, that's actually going to conclude the public hearing for the McKinley Development Saratoga Hills rezoning. Rich, just for clarification, later under the zoning section of the meeting is where we'll address the actual resolution to approve or deny. So, given the agenda, it should be pretty relatively quick here for you. Okay. Next up, we're graced with presence of Chief Deputy John Oliver. I'm going to turn it over to you first for the sheriff's report.
Appreciate that. Well, I wanted to come up here and introduce to the board our newest member of the Sheriff's Office, Captain Ryan Carver here. Well-deserved and promoted last week. As you all know, he does an outstanding job, so we wanted to recognize him for it. He stepped up to the plate for us numerous times. I know he puts his heart and soul into this township to make sure everything's going well. And I'll let Ryan introduce our new detective up here for you guys. So, but I just wanted to make sure everybody understood Ryan got promoted to captain last week, and very well served. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. Captain, floor is yours.
He still calls himself lieutenant though.
I gotta change my phone again.
Do the monthly report first, and then we'll do some introductions within the, have before you the May 2021 monthly report. 1,063 calls for service, up just a little over 9% from last year. A significant increase in crashes from last year, 50 crashes, 11 injury crashes, 1,000% increase in that difference in the changes in traffic from last year to this year.
Probably from nobody driving to now people driving, needing to just arrive late rather than,
Yeah. 75 alarms, traffic stops at 289, again, that huge change from last year, getting back into the swing of traffic enforcement, doing that kind of stuff. 120 citations, 73 arrests, another significant jump, 700 vacation and security checks. The detectives report, 11 cases assigned, 1 theft of a motor vehicle, 1 felonious assault, and 1 suspicious activity case closed. And header comparison of May 2020 to May 2021, pretty much across the board increases, not really any surprises there. And then your comparison going back to 2014, everything's starting to shift back up again. Any questions on that? I'd also like to introduce Deputy Derek Little. As we talked before, Deputy Ross will be retiring at the end of this month. So we're tasked with trying to fill some big shoes and find a replacement. Back on May 18th, Derek was selected and came over and started training with Detective Ross to get prepared to take over for him. Derek has been a deputy with us for 14 years, has about coming up on 20 years of total law enforcement experience. Most of his time that he's been assigned to patrol, he's been assigned to Plain Township. Did work at midnight shift for a little while. Lives with his wife and 4 kids. Past recipient of the Blue Coat Award. And then also Derek is almost a Plain Township resident. Back of his property line, if he steps out of the backyard, is Plain Township, so he's close when we need him and able to respond. So
Is it in another township?
No, it's in the city.
oh, that's painful.
we'll see if we can fix that.
At homes.
But anyway, I'd like to welcome Derek to the Plain Township team and taking over for Detective Ross. I'm glad to have him here and excited to transition over. And I believe Detective Ross will join us in the next meeting or prior to his last day. I believe it was June 25th. He's coming up at the end of the road that he's.
He'll be at our next meeting?
Yeah.
Will you let me know for sure?
Derek's been in good hands getting trained and trying to give him plenty of time to transition. All that good stuff.
Will Derek be able to take his vehicle home since he's so close?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
He's always ready to respond.
Perfect.
Any questions about anything?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Excited to have you on board.
Yes.
Okay.
Congratulations, Captain.
Thank you.
Well deserved.
That'll conclude the sheriff's report. There's nothing under unfinished business. I'll take it to new business, and I'll turn it over to our administrator, Ms. Campbell.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution to enter into the attached memorandum of agreement for transition facilitating training provided by Kent State University at Stark in an amount not to exceed $6,300 to be taken from Fund 01803.
So moved. Second. Discussion.
That involves several classes. It also involves numerous 1-hour issue trainings with Ned Park. It is really value looking at the different classes that we've had there.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Sarles,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mr. Hawes.
Yes.
Item number 2 is a resolution to approve payment to Wood and Bricks LLC for the installation of the Plain Township stone pillar to be taken from Fund 01B02.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, just to clarify, this is one of the already pre-identified, pre-approved lists, and this is just
It
based
is.
on the invoicing at the completion of each.
Yeah,
each
we'll only
pillar.
see the invoicing for the labor and installation because we've already done the purchase of all the stones and, yeah.
They are looking very,
They
very
look
nice. I know from
phenomenal.
some of the folks who have seen it, it's definitely and that, how's it, what was it? It made the entrances look exceptional,
Yeah,
so.
for sure.
Okay, no further discussion, roll call please.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes. Okay, that'll take us to the fiscal officer's report. Mr. Wolf?
Thank you. Fiscal Officer number 1 is a resolution to authorize the payment of pending warrants in the amount of $59,534.83.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 2 is a resolution to authorize payment of regular payroll in an amount not to exceed $250,000.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 3 is a resolution to authorize the payment for the following medical claims.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 4 is the financial report for May.
If there's got any questions, feel free to see Tom after.
Fiscal Officer number 5A is a resolution to authorize the following transfers of expenses to the Coronavirus Relief Fund.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion,
Yeah, we're gonna see a significant push in that fund because at one time, that funding was going to retirements and it can't, so we're gonna see some money come back, which will help with the COVID salaries that we're paying.
okay. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 5B is a resolution to authorize the following reimbursement transfers from the Coronavirus Relief Fund to the retirement accounts.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 6 is a resolution to authorize a refund as follows for overpayments for EMS as requested by Ohio Billing.
So moved.
Second, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 7 is a application for a liquor license for Chipotle Mexican Grill, Colorado LLC, located at 6410 Market Avenue North, North Canton, Ohio 44721.
So moved.
We don't need that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Captain, any, I mean, it's a new
Yeah,
location,
it's
given the
brand new.
proximity to anything, that doesn't seem to be any concern.
We don't have any concern.
All right. Let it move on, no need to hold it.
Okay.
Do all Chipotles have alcohol?
That's
I
one
don't
of the things
think
I
so.
don't, this must.
When I read it on the agenda,
And the
I
fact,
was
and the fact that
confused.
it's, and the fact that it's a
Drive, I know,
to
that's,
move, that,
you might be busy
I can tell you where I'd
there.
be sitting in a cruiser.
Yeah, no, you might be busy that day.
We may see a push to more type of drive-through establishments
Oh, I
though
think you
too,
are.
because of COVID, we're seeing that already. I know there's legislation pending. I know Jackson has an issue with the number of liquor licenses that they have. I know that the one at Jackson would like to get one, but again,
Too much saturation.
yeah, so we have them available and it's a decent fit.
Any businesses that want to come to Plain Township, as
That's
long
right.
as they're legal and ethical, we'll welcome them. Okay, any further discussion on that one? So that's.
That concludes the Fiscal Officer report.
Back to the administrator, Ms. Campbell.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to adopt the attached Plain Township Employee Handbook.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, I just want to call it, there's been a ton of work
Yeah.
done by everybody on this, and having done it outside of the township for another business. This is one where your eyes go cross, looking at stuff going, okay, did I pull this from this section? Did I tie it in over here? Did I remove it? So thank you for the countless hours that have been put into that. I mean, I think quite frankly, the deeper dive we've done this time just even in clarifying some of the language, there's value in simplicity. I think we found it
Yeah.
based upon,
It was a good cathartic process with the board because you took the time to look at each of the issues, do that deeper dive, and make the handbook much more simple. And that will be appreciated.
hopefully it helps with fiscal out and some of the changes, so.
Definitely.
Yeah, fiscal was a good resource because, you know, they looked through it and said, ooh, what about this, what about this? Because they deal with the monetary and the time off. And a real huge thanks to Rob, he reviewed it, the board of course did, but he reviewed it in a deep dive twice, which was not easy.
Steinberg,
Mhm.
you didn't let him do the spell check, did
No, no. I said content only.
you?
Only after Jameson.
Content only. So I will be, we have to get them printed, then I'm gonna meet with each department and work with Chief on his guys just to review and go over, because they are expected to sign off on the handbook, but I just don't want them to take it, sign off.
For me, I know in the past, the boards typically provide a hard, just email, I'll sign off on the cover page. I don't want a hard copy. Literally, guys, if there's anything that comes through in the meeting packets, it's electronic. I don't need copies
Me
of
either.
it. It'll just,
I-
it'll save the staff from preparing,
Yeah.
because I'm gonna tell you what I do with it. Oh, yeah, I've seen this, or I do a quick glimpse and then it's right into the recycle container, so,
I can
Just-
send that to you
yeah.
Tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that's, I mean, that'll be on my phone,
Do
that'll
we-
be on my iPad.
Yeah.
And can we, outside of giving a physical copy to them, is it worth emailing a copy to anybody in the township?
I think that with, I can work with Chief on that because he has everybody's emails.
I just think it's a nice, where the heck did I put that hard copy?
Quick
Hard
You got
copy,
everybody's
yeah.
emails?
You can't hardly read them electronic.
90% of
We could do that, and then when we meet, I'm not gonna tell people not to take a copy, but
Yeah.
whoever would like a copy, we can do that. I just don't want anybody saying, we only got an email and I've,
Yeah.
once they sign that,
What if you go paper sign off?
well, yeah, once I have the, I need the acknowledgement,
Yeah.
so I will meet with them and, yeah,
Okay.
that would be great,
Good. Nice job.
thank you.
No further discussion,
Oh, sorry.
roll call,
Mr. Haas?
yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes. Then item number 2 is a resolution to authorize payment to Kurtz Brothers for the hauling of the yardways not to exceed $2,635 from Fund 01A26Y.
Also move,
Second.
discussion,
I want to say really good props to Eric, to the road department, for Chief letting us, you know, get in the way back there, but that place has never been cleaner. It just looks immaculate. And we did plant, I asked Ryan to plant the wildflowers behind the facility, and really, that's not to look pretty. We get inspected every year, and that stops stormwater runoff, and those have come in great. So for being a dump, it's a good-looking dump, so thanks all.
so Chief, has it been easier to navigate back there with how it's set up? Have you guys noticed any difference for the sake of training, or nothing really?
Yeah, it's about the same as it was.
Well, just, you know, sometimes we get folks back here taking photo shoots like it's date night and so
Date night
forth.
at
So
the dump.
I'm guessing, you know, all that brush has got an attractive effect, so as long as we
It
don't have
does.
people lingering around there.
Yeah. Proposals, I'm sure will be happening there, it just looks so pretty.
No further discussion, roll call,
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
yes.
Thank you, that's the end of the administrator report.
Chief, floor is yours.
Item number 1 is just our monthly report.
Nothing out of the ordinary here.
No, times are pretty much about the same.
Okay. Next item.
Okay, item number 2 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize purchase and payment of 4 dive rescue suits from Dive Rescue International not to exceed $2,300.
So moved.
Second, discussion, roll call,
Mr. Haas?
yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 3 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to grant the request for tuition reimbursement to Eric Wiedebacher to authorize payment in amount not to exceed $634.50.
So moved, Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 4 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize purchase payment to Schindler Elevator Corporation for repairs and parts for the elevator at 1742 Schneider, not to exceed $8,000.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, this was from electrical storm, well, electrical surge slash
Yeah.
lightning storm. Unfortunately, this is the most expensive part of the fire department, the county building
Right.
department made us have there. It probably collects more dust than it does anything, but God forbid we ever have to sell the station in the future because we build another station.
I can attest it does work. I was in it last week. Well, last week it worked
Well,
before
it
the
worked
storm.
last
Yeah,
week,
it
yeah,
worked
yeah.
before the storm.
Pretty sure it's not working now.
So we're hoping that,
Didn't
you know, the one biggest part is the most expensive, and it'll be covered by the insurance,
Yeah.
and get it back up and running.
Okay. Perfect. Appreciate the quick turnaround on that.
Yes, we're hoping to get them back to actually get the part in, so.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And that concludes fire department, thank you.
Okay, it's gonna take us to road department, Mr. Iacino.
Yeah, item number 1 is the monthly report for May. Do you have any questions? Glad to answer them.
Good. Paving's still going well.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 30%. We're getting a little behind on paving because of the weather. The grinding's, much further ahead, so we're gonna slow down grinding and get caught up. And the next couple of days look bad for any paving because of the rain, so. But they're moving along good. They're sticking with us, so.
Okay. Next,
Item number 2, I will turn over to Mr. Neff.
Good evening, Board and fellow department heads. Before you, I have the resolution requesting the Stark County Auditor to certify the dollar amount to be generated by the renewal of the 1.5 mil levy for the general construction, reconstruction, resurfacing, and repair of streets, roads, and bridges in the Plain Township Road District.
I will so move on road district, or road number 2.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you.
Takes us to the zoning department. Tom?
Thank you, sir. Item number 1 is the monthly report.
Memory serves me right, Plain's still continuing to lead the way in new build construction in the county.
Yes, they are.
Questions on the report? Next.
Item number 2 is a resolution to declare items A through E as nuisance abatement.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Item number 3 is a resolution to declare items A through B as nuisance abatement payments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
And item number 4 is a resolution to hereby adopt the recommendation of the Plain Township Zoning Commission for approval of zoning amendment 577-21.
I will so move.
Second.
Discussion, I want to let the record reflect, Rich, you guys have done a great job over there. I actually owned a house over there at one point, and unlike some other developers that we've had to deal with in the past, you guys have held to your word. You've been on the forefront of it instead of trying to address things on the back end, so proactive versus reactive. I do think this is a reasonable and sound plan, especially given the time it went in. Initially looked at R2, that created a level of concern or question, even though it was still going to be single-family home. So we got it right with the R1A, and the reality is we still want to be an attractive place for folks to reside with, you know, affordable, quality housing. So I applaud the team for good open lines of communication on this. Any other comments?
No, I would echo the same thing. I know, you know, during that period, Tom was, you know, a little under the weather for a while, and, you know, he was trying his best to keep up with all of that, and, you know, that was foremost on his mind, but in reality, he really should have been taking care of himself. But, I mean, that's where he prioritizes everything, and, you know, the communications and everything. And I would agree with Scott, this is by far the best plan for that area, from my opinion. So thanks for cooperation and taking all things into consideration.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
No.
And that's all for zoning.
Okay. Let's see, next item, Parks Department.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a monthly report.
Okay, next.
Thank you. Just a quick update on the restroom. Mr. Sabo asked me to bring up, just so you know, we are awaiting receipt of the bid specs to take to the building department, the plumbing department, and of course present to zoning for permitting, at which time we'll be able to advertise for bids and continue to move forward.
Okay.
That concludes parks. Thank you.
Next item, Law Director, Mr. Williams.
Yes, thank you. This is a annexation filed by the city of Canton, and this is one for land over on Regent Avenue that the city actually owns. So it is.
This is a redo.
Yes.
Redo. This-
It is.
Okay. Let's see. How to move forward, I mean, there's nothing
Yeah,
to
I mean-
contest, it's technicality.
Right.
And it's a type 2.
Well, it's a type 2, and quite frankly, I'm surprised they didn't file it as a 70916, which is a procedure where when you're a municipal corporation, you don't even have to have a review.
Yeah, you can.
So I was a little surprised it was
Like a form of
023.
boundary.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's the way they chose to do it, so they'll have to review it at the commissioner's level.
Do you think they did it that way so they wouldn't have to do the property tax reimbursement?
Do they pay property tax? No.
There one building's been there for 10 years.
All right.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know why they did it this way.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. That includes the Law Director, Communications, Ms. Campbell.
Thank you. I have one item of communication from Julie Johnson. Julie is a lady that we did a funeral for, I think over 4 years ago, and since that time, they have made some nice contributions to the cemetery, which has led to the memory garden and to help pay for the fence there, the decorative fence. She recently sent another very nice donation, and the letter reads, Plain Township Board of Trustees enclosed as a donation for the ED Cemetery in memory of my parents. It's the Glazer family, who is a historic family back there, one of the first families back there. She's enjoyed knowing the donations are being put to good, amenities and use in the cemetery. Thank you for I send her pictures of the fence and the memory garden, and her parents would be very proud. So we have a nice donation, and Rob and I are going to go out and take a look around. We have some ideas for amenities and maybe what we can do in that cemetery, but very, very nice.
That concludes communications. Next on the agenda is public speaks. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to address the board? Okay, there are none. Concerns of trustees? None. Concerns of the fiscal officer?
No concerns.
Takes us to the approval of the minutes for May 25th, 2021, and I will so move.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
And then there's no need for executive session, so I will make a motion to adjourn at 6:40 PM.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Yeah.